Good morning, students. Yesterday we saw India arts, and related to India arts, we have seen that there are two types. One was visual, second personal, that was performed by. Going through it, we ended up with Indian iconography. As far as the Indian tradition of art is concerned, particularly related to the making of idols, it can be traced back to the 2nd century BC and was known as Gandhara School of Arts, which had its origin somewhere in the northwest towards Afghanistan. Keep in mind, at that time, these political boundaries of Afghanistan were an integral part of India as we study it in terms of India arts. Naturally, while studying so, we have to understand that from northwest towards north or northeast up till Bihar, the whole of India was gaining up momentum in the creativity of its own idols. And by doing so, Mathura School of Arts, that is during the 2nd century BCE, propagated some its new versions of making the idols. Definitely, some of them to Lord Shankar or Shiva, then Lord Krishna, and other deities. It was slowly developing into many other deities. But while doing so, proportion of the idol, the size and shape of the idol were slowly being fixed. It was not as a rule and regulation, but people adapted the style which was to be imitated from someone. And the origin being from Mathura School of Arts, slowly it gave a rise in a tradition, formation of a tradition, and then slowly it converted into, or today we acknowledge it into as an Indian iconography. While doing so, we can also come to know that there were rock cut caves from 3rd century BC. Ajanta, Ellora, we have seen. The best example yesterday we saw about Mahabalipuram, a monolithic rock which was cut into the formation of today as we call it a temple or a chariot. And in this way, a new style was slowly developing in India. This style converted into, because of the idols, because of the statues of god goddesses, temples were now being created, and these temples formulated their own style, being a vast geographical land with variation in cultural ties, geographical variation, language, linguistic differences, and behavior pattern according to the climatic conditions. Slowly, also the geographical variation of the land give rise to the styles of temple. These styles of the temples in India are known by various names. That is, in north we call it Nagara. In the north we call it Nagara, and the best example, that is Khajuraho. The Khajuraho temple from Madhya Pradesh is well known for its top shikhara. That means not only this is one example. There are many temples from the North India known for their Nagara style. And this Nagara style means the tops of the temples, that is in this way. And from here onwards the temples are being reconstructed. So this is how the temples are in the north. Whereas the center, in the center we will come towards the center, but when we study about the south, that is the Dravida style, here the temples are not exactly like this. There is shikhar, but not as it is in North India. Also we can find it here that the temples are in this way. They are being created in such a way and as if they are long enough, and then they create. So this variation of the temple, the Dravida and the Nagara style, that are the two styles. Best example, Meenakshi temple, Tirupati temple, and the temples in the south are large enough. And also the area they encompass is of a big, just like a fields. Apart from that, when both the styles culminate into the central part, that is the Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, today's geographical area, is known as actually is known as Vasera. We also call it Bhumija style. Now it's a blend. We find temples like this as well as this. So because of that, we can come to know that the variation in India is not only because of the people but also geographical differences plays a major role in the creativity of all these things. These temples have their origin since 3rd century BC or even prior to that. If we visit Ajanta, if we visit other temples, that is Verur, just adjacent to it, also belonging to the Aurangabad districts of Maharashtra. Verur's temple is the Kailas temple is monolithic temple. Monolithic made up of a single rock. It's a marvelous creativity, but keep it in mind. Again, we have to understand the rock cut cave, and it is because of such situation that specific rocks available in that area were converted into the temples, and along with it slowly the styles started to develop. So in India today, though the styles are intermingled, we can understand that originally the Indian iconography or Indian arts, we have Nagara style, we have the Bhumija or Vasera style, and again in south we have Dravida style. Now because people belonging to the south are also termed as Dravidians, or in the north it is known as Nagara. Along with it, temples are also having their differentiation, but there is a lot of variation when it comes to the Hemadpanthi style. This is something universal or unique feature, particularly in Maharashtra and some parts of Madhya Pradesh, dedicated to Lord Shiva. These are the temples dedicated to Lord Shiva and were constructed particularly during 12th century when Maharashtra or this area was suffering from a severe drought-like situation. So temples for creation of the Shivling wells, just like the wells, the areas were dug out and then Shivling was erected on which temples were being created, specifically known as Hemadpanthi. Definitely, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and some parts of Madhya Pradesh adjacent to Maharashtra do have such type of temple. They are not found all over India, but this is a unique feature of temple architecture. Temple architecture from central India, particularly Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and some parts of Gujarat, we find them. And the construction is definitely of the Nagara style, that is the star-shaped zigzag designs. They are high elevated, and today we know that this architecture was also related with the daytime, the shadows of the daytime area. And along with it, some of the best examples are Ambarnath, that is near Mumbai, Gundeshwar near Nasik, and Ondhananda near Perphani, one of the 12 Jyotirlings. So, accordingly, if we try to understand all these, even temples were created by the people as time proceeded with the variation in their architecture, and they developed their own styles. These styles today very well known by their own names, are very famous throughout India. But as we see the iconography, that is the statue, that is the structure, slowly after this, that is the 10th century afterwards, we find that India also had, after 10th century, India had an invention by Arabs, Arabian area, and from here we came in contact with Islam, also Persian, Arabian, and so on. But while doing so, this, as they came here, the Mughals, the Persians, the Arabians, and having their own style, Islamic style started to develop in India. This Islamic style we can find very well in North India, because North India was the seat of their rule. To great extent, we have some of the best examples in the name of Qutub Minar near Delhi. Qutub Minar, one of the tallest minaret in the world. Apart from that, Taj Mahal, Agra, is also an Islamic blend. We find it a structure very well known for, and the best part of it, that is of Islam, is dome shape. Dome shaped coverings as they are having. Here we find it in this way. Here we find it in this way. Whereas here they are the domes. And because of that, the structural identity of all this varies. Slowly, along with the Islam, there come a blend when Britishers, the Portuguese, the French came into India and had their political supremacy. Along with it, when the Britishers entered into India, that is after 8th or 16th or 17th century, 17th century onwards, we call it Indo-Gothic. Now, this Indo-Gothic style is a blend or a mixture of India, to a certain extent, even the Islamic and the Europeans. In Europeans, particularly the Britishers, the Portuguese, Goa, Div Daman have the churches which can have close resemblance to the Portuguese style. Whereas the rest of India, many of, for example, Kolhapur railway station, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus, Mumbai, the Mahanagarpalika of Mumbai, we also call it as BMC, are some of the architectural styles which can be termed as Indo-Gothic. Apart from that, we can also come too close to the mixture of all three blends. The Parliament of India, that is Rashtrapati, again the Rashtrapati Bhavan, that is a mixture of India as well as Islam and the Europeans. But because people started coming, settling down here, coming in contact with each other on a greater scale, slowly this changed the scenario of their living habits. And this habitual change, as it is predominantly, we can view it on the parts of people's behavior, the dress code, means day-to-day life living is also well acquainted with the structures there, the glass paintings, the windows, the dome-shaped entrance of the walls are not originally Indians. So this all came into being slowly with a slight change and people's accepting it. Now whatever we saw are some of the best examples of iconographic India. But as it turns to the temple structure, architecture, instead of temple we can say the architecture, as in architecture we see many of the blends and India accepting all them, creating its own unique new style. They slowly become part and parcel of world heritage. We all know about Taj Mahal, but apart from Taj Mahal, even the Red Fort of India, apart from that, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus is now recognized as a world heritage site. So the BMC building, Bombay Municipal Corporation's headquarters building, and then the railway station at Kolhapur, and apart from that, some many other. Because these are the examples from Maharashtra. As we move apart, we can find such in every state near about. So is also in Goa. The Goa area was dominated by the Portuguese for a long duration. Naturally, the church there. Also, the churches from Kerala and the coastal areas of Western India. We can find the culmination of, mixture of all such three blends. But apart from architecture, India also has its uniqueness in the styles of dance and music. When it comes to the dance also are classical dance. Music is also classical music. Yesterday we saw that when we speak in terms of classic means which is forever, which never becomes old, and people accept it time and again. So while performing art in terms of dance and music, India again is divided into two parts, that is Shastriya and Upashastriya. That Hindustani, Karnataki and Shastriya and Upashastriya. All these, the dances famous in India, the dance famous in India are some examples of this. That is Kathak from North India, Lavani well known in Maharashtra, Odissi from Odisha, Bharatnatyam, Tamil Nadu, Kathakali and Mohiniyattam, Kerala. Now, these are some examples, but while doing so, while performing art, personally, when the artists come forward to perform the art, we have to understand that there are rules and regulations. And these rules and regulations are formulated by people adapting the style, following it for a longer duration. Keep it in mind, what is the difference between the classical, as we call it, and the new one or various versions. Classical means the rules and regulations accepted by the people perform through it in a specific way for a longer time, and then it becomes the part of that whatever the performance it is, may it be music or dance. We know many people well famous for this, but apart from this you must be knowing some of the people also related to music. The best example, because we are students, the best example we can know is of Shiv Hari, Shiv Prasad Chaurasia and Hari Prasad. Both, though are classical musicians, came together and composed some of the best lyrics of Hindi cinema. Apart from that, we know the word in the words of in the names of some of the personalities who in vocal created their own identity. Bhimsen Joshi is one such name. Apart from that, there are many others who even today, for example, if we know the biggest name nowadays, Hariharan, three persons coming together and being a blend of all this, Shankar Ehsaan Loy. Apart from that, there are even today many others who are creating their identity. But these are the names related to music, vocal and instrumental. Also with the dance, we know many of the people who are well acquainted. But while doing so, the rules and regulations as we spoke about, though they were not written, slowly people who become much more, a person who become much more popular was imitated by others. This imitation, keep it in mind, this imitation by the people for a longer duration paved a way or a mark for rules and regulations to be followed by others. Whosoever is a performer is an original performer, cannot imitate others. So with a slight distance, with a slight change, these people or these artists perform their own art, and then it becomes law or rules for it. While doing so, some of the rules that are to be followed are Shringa, that is love, Hasya, humor, Bibitsa, repulsion, Rudra, terrible, Karuna, sad, Veer, heroic, Bhayanak, fearful, Adbhut, wondrous, Shant, peace. These are also known as Navarana. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. These are the variation that an artist has to follow. And accordingly, definitely, whatever the creation is, creation moves forward. Shringa, all know it is related to love. Whatever the decorations that are going on, Hasya, one have to be in control while doing so to make people laugh, or creativity of a laughter, that is humor. Bibitsa, repulsion, that is rejected. It is so means hard to understand or to grasp, not understand but to grasp, that instead of accepting, we reject it. So it becomes Vivek's repulsion. Society is not ready to. But these are certain elements which an artist must follow. Rudra, terrible, to show the terror. Karuna, sad. These are also a part of emotions. Veer, heroic. Heroic did put one's life into danger, adventures. Bhayanak, fearful. one must be afraid of Adbhut, wondrous, Chamatkarik also as we call it, and Shant, peaceful. So these certain elements, or as we call it the neuron, are also the part of expressions, can be expressed on one's face while performing the dance, and this also is a part of all this. So when a performer, when an artist comes on the stage and performs his performance, people are able, without going to words, people are able to understand what exactly they want to show. In this way, musical dance, musical plays started coming on the stage. Some of the best example, Ramayana, Mahabharata, some episodes of Ramayana and Mahabharata are enacted, are played in such a way that they were the part and parcel of the story, verbal story, but imitated into either dance or combination of dance and music. But while doing so, people must be able to understand what is going on. So these neurons were to be demonstrated on the artist face. And one who becomes successful in demonstrating this is an artist who is well appreciable. There are many plays, there are many evidences, examples through which we can show that they became the part and parcel of one's life. Particularly when it comes to the Shastriya or Upashastriya tradition of Hindustani art, Shastriya definitely classical and Upashastriya is a blend of. With the coming of the Mughals, after that the Britishers and ruling here, having creating their supremacy in political fields, the people who followed them slowly came in contact with them, and there came a change even in Shastriya. And this Upashastriya and Shastriya, when blend together, a new form started to emerge. Today, this version is very well known in Hindi film industry, and this film industry mixes the Hollywood and some Bollywood creativity, creating into fusion. We call it fusion. So the creativity of all, that is the Indian, Islamic or European. This European can also be termed as Hollywood. So the blend of all this is termed as fusion. And this fusion is the style which is developing nowadays. We are well acquainted with fusion because of the film songs, because of the films that are being created here on a large scale. So whatever we are doing, as time will move ahead, changes will be accepted by the people. And these changes are because of one, globalization. Second, the economy that is fast developing. And third, the biggest part which we have to understand is the changes that are accepted here are because of the professional opportunities that are ready or made available in all these sectors. The professional opportunities that we are speaking about is all these people who are well famous in their one or two, or maybe the personalities who are much more famous, the people as we know, are the people who definitely are artists, but at the same time earn their livelihood through these performances. So these people are also the people who gain much more money. Now, what are the professional opportunities that are available, or applied arts as the history we are learning? This applied art is the, in other sense, the source of everyday livelihood, generating economic prosperity for a person who is too close to this artistic scenario or this artistic field. May it be the architecture, may it be dance, may it be music, or even apart from that, the decorations that are going on. While doing all these things, one must be well acquainted with. Now, for example, a person who is well acquainted in architecture of this can get the biggest asset in making of the temples, The person who is well acquainted with the Islamic style can be a person who can get a government job in Archaeological Survey of India office. So Archaeological Survey of India office is one of the office which is working throughout India and maintaining the status quo of whatever that was the glory of the past. The bygone era's glories are certain things which are to be preserved, and the students who are well acquainted with or who are well versed in history, know the history of all these things, can get an easy job. So apart from that, even the musicians, the dancers, they dance, they perform the music. Musicians are apart, dancers are apart, even the artists, the films as they are being made. There are many people who are also termed as the makers, but they are backstage. And these people, for example, the decoration of the stage, the mic system, the sound service as we call it. Apart from that, the people who are recording, these are the people who get employment, and employment generation sector goes on increasing because of all these things. Each and every person who is having well acquainted with one or the other field, need not that all must be the dancers, all must be the musicians, all must be the architecturers, or making of an idol, iconography, need not to be. Even a student from science who is having interest towards history can incline in a job which is too close to history. So if it is so, definitely one can get the livelihood or stable life because of such interest. Now apart from that, we have also to understand that art market is one of the biggest market in the world, where common people are unable to understand what exactly art market is. Iconography, when we study, we find or we know the stories of the idols that are thousands years back. And these statues, these idols or god goddesses or even whatever. Yesterday I will give you an example of Pashupatinath. Now this was an idol that was erected from the ground soil during the excavation of Harappan, when Harappan civilization was known. Now these are certain things which are to be preserved. So definitely the museums, as we know, not only the museums but the archives. Apart from that, some people are well famous in purchasing, spending lot of money in purchasing such antique pieces. Yesterday we saw related to the paintings. If we know actual importance of or the reality of the Madhubani art, then definitely one will be ready to pay a large. So the painters, the statue makers, the architects, the dancers, the musicians, and while doing so, the script writers, we cannot make different mention to them. So definitely these all are the people who gain their livelihood, and definitely one biggest asset they must be if they have that interest in history or one or the other topic having interest. These are the people who can, because in iconography many duplication or duplicate idols are sold in the name of antiquity, and many of the stories that we come to know are the stories that people are being deceived, falsely misguided, and because of that people spend lot of money just because they are interested in it. If we are able to understand all these things, there is a vast scope in terms of not only history but the subject you are acquainted with. Whatever you are doing, because architecture is a part of engineering, whereas creativity in terms of music can also be a part. But today we are studying it as history, and the historic background, if one comes too close to it, can pave way for a better livelihood in creating a job. May it be in terms of only art, may it be applied art, or the professional opportunities that are ready there. Creation of the pandal. Apart from that, stage decoration. Best example one can find is during Ganesh festivals, certain temples are being erected for specific time limit. Definitely, one who is well acquainted in the architectural format are given the contacts and they create it during Navratri festival. Temples of India, famous temples of India are erected and idols of Devi or Ganesh, Lord Ganesha is there for just a specific time limit. Now, because of this, many people gain economic prosperity because of their unique feature or because of their uniqueness in understanding, making, or the creativity they are having in history. Hope you understood this. All the students having interest, generating interest in history in one or the other sense, may it be architecture, related to temple, related to history, related to even day-to-day life, that is the modern structures. We know that architectures and interior designers nowadays are getting much more importance. So all these personalities can gain importance if they definitely skill is required. If they exceed the skill, they become the supreme persons. Similarly, in terms of dance, in terms of music, certain names are there. Not only in classical, even in Hindi film, we find certain personalities who are very well versed either in dancing, in singing, or demonstration of the music. So these are the things which slowly gives you a better chance to create an opportunity for your professionalism. Being professional, definitely one needs to be well skilled, well versed. Hope you understood what exactly India Arts or Applied History stands for. Thank you.